Hi, everybody. I'm Walter. I'm the Dutch mentor. Welcome back to the Smart Performance Podcast, where S stands for self-care, M for mindful growth, A for adaptive problem solving, R for rhythmic operation, T for building that thriving community, and of course, P for performance. I'm really happy to have Adam Goldman here with me today. We're going to talk about a topic slightly different from our norm, but that is a good thing. Again, everything we talk about today is actionable. If you don't do something with it, our conversation will be forgotten by Monday morning. Today, the topic is about franchising, which is kind of an interesting thing because all of us think about it, not only when we think about McDonald's, but other opportunities, but very few of us actually pull the trigger on that. So it'll be very insightful to get a good conversation and some insight today from Adam. Adam, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here. Well, I'm someone that really never fit into the corporate mold, right? So I graduated from undergrad, and instead of getting recruited, I did get recruited by Ford and Toyota and Archer Daniels Midland and Kraft, and just didn't really take that path. Decided to kind of set out on my own and started my career in Eastern Europe. And after I graduated from business school, although I did go ahead and recruit with companies like McKinsey, decided I already had an existing business in Poland that I went back to. And so I've always never really fit into the corporate mold. And in many ways, franchising has been a fantastic fit for me personally. I owned my own office cleaning master franchise, which I bought in 2010 in Houston, Texas. And what I love about the franchising world is it allows you to be an entrepreneur, but have it with training wheels. So own that company for 8.5 years. Had an offer that I couldn't refuse, and I've been running my own business as a franchise coach and consultant for the past 10 years now, and really love connecting people that are looking to invest that actually decide that they can pull the trigger with great brands.
So it's really interesting to me as well. So somebody who's been in healthcare as a clinical provider and then as an executive for a better part of 30 years, I too wanted to say, hey, listen, I always have had this burning desire to be the entrepreneur. I never, having 5 kids, I needed to have the safety of having that, that paycheck coming in every couple of weeks. But that really, that the little flame that was there was always like, itching to come out, right? So I have now gone on to, on and own a helicopter company with a couple of partners, and we provide tour operations in the Lake George area. Welcome any of you to come out. I'm a certified flight instructor, so happy to take you for a ride. But, from a franchising perspective, that is kind of like one of those other things that we see advertisements, but we always say, it's not for me, or I need to have $1 million in the bank in order to be able to buy a franchise. So give us a quick view of what it is like that for the people like myself who are on the sideline thinking about this, but really hesitant about pulling the trigger or even picking up a phone call and having a conversation about it.
So I think there's a misconception in my industry. And that misconception is that people think that you need to have millions of dollars to invest. The other second misconception is they think that it's only about fast food. I want to kind of dispel these two myths. The first one is that I have really good brands that are very successful that you can get in for as low as about $125,000 or $150,000. And if you are a U.S. citizen, the SBA allows you to borrow a significant portion of this. You can even use your 401k for this or a home equity line of credit. The second myth related to whether or not which industries are available. I work with candidates that are looking to invest, and we have 75 different industries that we connect candidates with.
That's pretty significant. Let's take it back to the beginning then, and I thank you for reassuring that, because there is obviously myths are there to be busted, because otherwise people are they will hold anybody back at any time. So take an average person, a 40-year-old, but with a little bit of line of credit available. What can they do? What is the first step? What they should do? What is the opportunity out there?
So let's kind of backtrack, right? Anyone can go and do their own research online, right? And there are 4,000 franchise brands in the United States, right? So I don't care if you use AI or if you don't use AI, you're just going to be bogged down to figure out these things out. What I do is a free service, right? Franchise brands pay me a commission if I make a successful match. And so the way it would work for a 40-year-old, if they were interested in my free service, or someone else, they don't have to be 40 to do it, is they would go ahead and contact me. And then we have a very quick intro chat. If I don't think they're a fit for franchising, I'd let them know. They fill out a survey. Then we have a more in-depth chat. And then I connect them with the 3 brands that I think are the best fit for them.
And great. That sounds pretty simplistic and pretty straightforward opportunity. So take us now. Somebody goes through the interview process and make a commitment to one. Give me an example of a client that you've had that selected an franchise. The steps after that, and what are the risks involved, the liabilities involved? What is the obviously the return on investment potential?
So you mentioned you were from the health industry, right? So I have the health wellness is a big type of brand or type of segment that I connect my investors with. Just to give you an example, I have someone that is a really successful surgeon in Houston, and he decided to invest in a fitness concept here in Houston. So he is in the process of getting these facilities, these 3 facilities, open and running, right? So the way it works is that he went ahead and invested. The franchise brand provides a system and a brand, meaning they're not going to open the business for him, but they're going to say, hey, you should put this here. This is the template or the blueprint. And what he will do when he signs his first lease is he's going ahead and he's going to have pre-sales where hopefully by the time he opens, he's going to have enough people that are members where he's breaking even by the time he opens his business.
So that is very interesting of buying into a franchise itself. So that's one opportunity. So let's say I own a business and I have always said, listen, I think this concept could work anywhere. And I want to become, an organization that can franchise out. What would that look like?
So Walter, I get bombarded by people, right, that tell me, hey, I had this amazing idea. I want to franchise it. And my experience is that people tend to underestimate how hard it is to franchise a business. Even if you have the most amazing idea in the world, you're competing against these 4,000 other brands. And many of them are probably in your same category. Just as a side note, I'd rather invest in a business that other people are doing as opposed to something that no one else has done before. To give you an example, one of the weirdest franchises that we have it's called Geese Chasers. It's not in my inventory, but it's actually a bunch of geese that chase dogs. I'm sorry, a bunch of dogs that chase geese on golf courses. Not sure about the profit margin, but that's a unique, interesting business. And sometimes niche works, but challenging to become a franchisee or franchisor, excuse me.
Yeah, so it is. So again, there's 2 sides of the of the opportunities out there. Going back to the conversation and about the cost of entry, are there any low cost opportunities that not most 40-year-olds, let's say, who are finally finding some financial freedom might not have the money in the bank to be able to do that? And what is the risk? I mean, technically speaking, in the United States, I think the failure rate of any new business is about 70 to 80%.
So look, on the low end, I would, as I mentioned, it's about 125K, right? So what I would say is, and just to kind of be more specific about those businesses on the low end, it could be things such as senior care, right? We look at demographics, everyone's getting older. This is certainly a great business. I look at businesses that don't necessarily have any inventory. You mentioned a high failure rate. I would challenge that the failure rate for franchises is significantly lower than regular businesses because of the systems and guardrails in place.
Okay. So I think we have talked a little bit about the foundation of both sides. But give me a success story of somebody you worked with, and where did they, how big did they make it, and find something that's not just the outlier, but something that's in the middle of the road, but something that is that people can buy into and understand.
One of my favorite placements is someone that is located in Columbus, Ohio. They decided to invest in a salon suite. They became the franchisees of the year. The husband is a Fortune 500 executive, always had a passion for starting business, but never actually pulled the trigger until he did this. We kind of became acquainted through happenstance. and has built this up into kind of an empire. He owns the real estate underneath on some of his brands. His wife is very involved in the business, and just it's been a great match for the two. It's a kind of business that I have that's semi-passive and scalable, which is an amazing thing to be in for franchising.
So dive a little deeper on what was the business model, just as an example on.
So this is one of my favorite models in franchising. It's salon suites. And the way that works is that you go to a landlord and you say, hey, look, you have all this space here, it might be on the second floor. It's not really being utilized. Let me go ahead and lease this space from you, and I'm going to sublease it to beauty professionals.
And the money maker there is to convert a low utilized space and convert it into a business that is subleased. Is it important to buy the building, or is it just as profitable, or if you can sublease it?
So the vast majority of salon suite franchisees do not own the building of the dirt underneath. But if you can find the right place in the right location, and even better, maybe even buy the dirt, build it up, and then sell it to someone else and then lease it back to yourself, then that, for more sophisticated investors, that could be really interesting and exciting.
And now, how many of these locations do I need to have in order to be able to make a living of it, rather than just a passive, for example?
I mean, all depends on what your expectations are. The vast majority of salon suite owners own a few of them, not necessarily one. So minimum 3 to 5 locations.
Okay. And what kind of margins would they have on that? What is it that I could expect? It is an example, right? Just I want people.
Yeah, exactly. So look, what I would say
give
about
up my full-time job to make, to do something like this?
yes, absolutely. But you would probably have to open a few of these, right? There are other businesses. For instance, again, if you are a great owner of a home healthcare company, and you don't necessarily need to have more than one territory for that, because think about it. Each customer, it's not a nice to have, it's a need to have. You're getting tens of thousands of dollars per month from each customer. I mean, you could do the arithmetic. Your profit margins are quite high. I don't necessarily go into profit margins, but it is a high margin business, the home healthcare business. So that's one that really is exciting.
Okay. And on that note, is that still an expanding business?
Absolutely. I mean, just think about what's going on with our demographics.
Yeah, people are getting older and older and need more care. And Medicare pays for these services?
A lot of times it's either private or insurance paid.
Yeah.
But actually what's happening too is that some of these brands are actually kind of expanding into the non-senior market as well. There are people that are younger that need help as well.
Yeah.
Special needs people.
Yeah, it is. And I see this for myself too, the people around. And I have a few friends of mine who have opened up businesses recently. Of course, there's been a ton of controversy around home health care as of recently too, because of fraud that has taken place in the industry. So you do need to be hyper aware, but the opportunity is certainly there. All right, let's take the flip side of the coin. Tell me about somebody who went into a franchise and failed. Why did they fail? And how can I prevent that, or can a franchise owner prevent that from happening to them?
So look, I think that the COVID was a really tough time, and it was a black swan event. But I think one of the lessons of COVID is kind of be prepared for different things. I had people that decided to invest in states that were high regulation in businesses like fitness, right? And they didn't know that in February of 2020, right? But all of a sudden, March or April of 2020 comes along, they're undercapitalized and it doesn't work out. So I don't know what the lesson is there, but that's just kind of a black swan event.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I call these outliers, that you can really put them from a business case perspective, put them out there. But I would suspect that people go into franchises with the capital, or obviously a lot of U.S. businesses fail because they're undercapitalized. But let's say they come in with that. It is the management piece of it that you still are responsible for as a franchise owner, even though you get to hopefully enjoy the branding and the systems and the processes from the franchise that you're buying into. The failure point is that you can buy whatever you want, but if you can't lead, then that becomes problematic very quickly after that, and that can lead to poor customer service. Poor customer service leads to you going out of business. And that's really what, in my world of teaching people how to effectively lead others, is so critically important. Have you seen that in people who have been unsuccessful?
Absolutely. I mean, look, people think that if you buy the brand, buy the business, then all of a sudden it's magic going to work. I don't care if it's the most amazing brand. You got to run it, even if you're running it semi-passive with managers, right? So it's not going to run itself.
Yeah, and that's really the key takeaway is that, there's no easy path. Right? You cannot buy your way into a franchise and just, turn it over to somebody who you barely know and hope that things will work out for you. Um, Interesting conversation, and I always say to people is that if you have this itch, and you want to have some level of security, as we talked about, the level of success, being a franchise owner is certainly greater than if you have a startup on your own. And the statistics bear that out. So, Adam, where can people find you?
Best place is my website, franchisecoach.net. Go ahead and schedule a free 15-minute chat. And I promise, if I don't think you're a fit, to let you know.
Excellent. And that's really as simple as taking action, right? Go to his website, book the call, make sure that you take a meaningful action. If you have that little itch and you have that thought, hey, listen, why not reach out, and start the conversation? And having somebody honestly tell you that if you have it or you don't have it is probably the greatest value you will ever receive from anybody. Adam, thank you very much for joining me on the show today. Give us a parting thought or an action item that people should do as they exit from the podcast today.
So, parting thought for me is that I think that in franchising, it might be as a life also, I just want to emphasize how important it is to actually search for things the right way. And what I'm really focused on is for looking at things from a characteristic point of view. So, you asked before about what people do wrong when it comes to looking at franchises. And a lot of times people kind of get excited about the new shiny new object. Maybe it's crumble cookie or whatever it is, but they don't really focus on characteristics of an ideal fit for them, whether or not it's semi-passive ownership or I don't know, anything else that's an ideal characteristic. Maybe they're a salesperson, but they don't want to be behind a desk. And I think in life and also in franchising, you really need to understand that right fit.
Yeah, listen, I say that the four P's need to be connected: your purpose and your passion, and then find the people in the process to work with. If those four P's are not connected with each other, it's not likely that you will be happy or that the business will be successful. Adam, thank you very much for that very insightful comment. Thank you for giving us some insight on what it is like to be a franchise owner or the path to get there, and of course the failure points that we need to be all aware of. To the audience, thank you for being here today. Come back to the next show. Go to thedutchmentor.com. There's a wealth of information available there that you can actually tease out to find out what kind of business you want to be in by doing a business audit or a service line audit itself. And of course, the Compass app is that to really find your journey. What is your big dream, and what kind of small steps do I need to take in order to be able to reach that? Adam, thank you very much. Audience, have a great day, and we'll talk soon again.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.